The Chuck Shoot Podcast.
The Dysfunctional album. I love the title of that. That was the first Dokken album that I bought, believe it or not. Because that's kind of when I started getting into rock, was the early '90s. And did George play on that song, or he just did one solo? Who else played guitar?
One solo. I decided after all the millions of dollars we spent on recording studios, screw this. I had the money. I said, I'm going to build my own studio. And I did. 710 Studios, which lasted 10 years, down in Redondo Beach, near my house. So it was Jeff and Mick and me, and we spent a year writing Dysfunctional. And it was a really beautiful spiritual experience because we had no record deal and we could do whatever the fuck we wanted. We'll just do what we want. I'd say, hey, maybe some sitar there. I had a sitar, and maybe some crazy tuning here, and maybe some crazy harmonies here. We wrote the whole record and finished it. And I mixed it and I recorded it, and it was done. Then Columbia Records, John Kolodner had left Geffen, gone to Columbia, started a new label called Portrait. And he said, but you really should get George back in the band. And I remember what I said. So you want me to shoot myself? Because he didn't understand the dynamics.
Right.
So here George has got nothing. Lynch Mob broke up. He came back, came in the studio. He was very nice. He was very sweet. And I said, okay, you can do the solo on Too High to Fly. That's it. Even though, non-egotistically, everybody in the band said, Don, the solo you did was better.
So you actually played all the guitars on that album,
except
for the solo. The Too High to Fly, that is such a great song, though. I mean, that was the single, and I mean, maybe some people think it's too long or whatever. It doesn't sound like old Dokken. I think that's my favorite.
8 minutes.
Yeah, I can't remember because I grew up in Seattle, and I remember they played it on the rock radio. So I don't know if they played an edited version, but I heard it and I go, wow, this is a cool song. I had to go out and buy the album.
It originally was 9 minutes because I did my homage to Jim Morrison, one of my big heroes. And, at the end of the song, I start talking Jim Morrison lyrics. This is the end, my only friend, the end of darkness. Boy, my horse today. Too much talking. So I do this homage to Jim Morrison. Mother, I want to kill you. Father, I did that whole thing in the breakdown. And that's when Red Beach, came in later, and we play that. And I knew it was a song that would never probably get played in the radio, but it was just a cool, I'd say retro 60s song. So George came in, redid the solo on Too High to Fly. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll put your name on the song. But that was it. He had nothing to do with Dysfunctional. Jeff, Mick, and I wrote that album together. And I was very proud of it. And then when we signed to John Kolodner on Portrait Records, he made a comment. He said, man, you guys are so dysfunctional. You guys are you're still a mess. 10 years later, I want to call the album Dysfunctional. So we did.
Yeah. Well, now you've got...